Welcome back. We are continuing our journey through the architecture of the mind today.
We are.
And we're picking up the blueprints for something that honestly feels a little less like a serene library and maybe a little more like a chaotic construction site.
Well, it feels like a construction site because that's exactly what it is, according to the material we're covering, I mean.
Okay, so the mind isn't a finished product.
Not at all. It's a work in progress every single hour of the day, whether you're paying attention to it or, not.
And this is our fourth session looking at William Walker Atkinson's work. We're focusing on Chapter 4 of Thought Vibration, which is called Mind Building.
Right. And as we've been doing, we're layering in other voices.
The heavy hitters, we've got Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and we're kind of crashing that ancient philosophy right into modern habit theory.
Which is where it gets really practical. This isn't just about, thinking nice thoughts. This is about engineering the machinery inside your own head.
Precisely. The central premise we are starting with today is terrifyingly simple.
It is. Atkinson argues that we are building our minds every single hour of our lives. Every single hour.
That's the part that it jumps out at me immediately. It suggests there's no neutral gear.
There isn't.
We think of working on ourselves as this thing we do, for 20 minutes in the morning.
Or in a therapy session, maybe.
Yeah.
But Atkinson says the construction crew never clocks out. You are either the architect, building consciously.
Or you're doing it unconsciously.
Exactly. And if you're doing it unconsciously, you're just letting the environment, old habits, other people's opinions, all the random noise of the world stack the bricks for you.
So most people are living in a mental house that they didn't actually design.
Right. They're living in a structure built by random suggestions and fleeting moods. And the goal of this session is to stop that, to take the blueprints back.
To move from being a passive resident to an active builder.
That's the whole idea.
I love that image,
Yeah.
taking the blueprints back. Because if you don't, you're just living in a drafty shack built by your anxieties.
Pretty much, yeah.
And before we get into the heavy lifting of how we actually do that, if this episode helps you, please hit like and subscribe for the next one.
It really does help us keep this series going.
Okay, so let's unpack this idea of the builder. Atkinson makes a really specific distinction that I think is the key to this whole thing.
The I versus the me.
The I and the me. Right. Now, grammatically, those sound like the same thing, but in this context, they're worlds apart.
This is the core concept, the sovereign I. Atkinson, and the Stoics, too, for that matter, they distinguish between the I, the real self, the observer, the part that decides,
The me.
and the me, which is your moods, your appetites, your fatigue, even your fleeting thoughts.
The me is the stuff that happens to you. The I is the one watching it happen.
Exactly. Think of it like a movie theater. The me is the movie playing on the screen, all the drama and chaos.
And the I is the person in the seat watching it.
Right. But the problem is most of us get so absorbed in the movie, we forget we're in the seat. We think we are the movie.
Atkinson uses this fantastic analogy to explain this. The mental kingdom.
It's a brilliant metaphor, really. Imagine your mind is a literal kingdom. It has a throne room, a government. But in most people, the king or queen, the I, has fallen asleep.
The ruler's taking a nap.
The ruler is comatose. And because the ruler is asleep, the servants have taken over the castle.
And who are the servants?
They're the faculties of the mind. Worry, anger, jealousy, laziness, the appetite for distraction. These are supposed to be subjects that serve you.
But instead they're running the show.
They've climbed onto the throne and they're running the show to suit themselves.
That is such a vivid image. You've got Worry sitting on the throne wearing the crown, and the actual king is just snoring in the corner.
Uh-huh.
But is there a danger there? Viewing our emotions as servants, it sounds a bit repressive.
That's a valid concern, but think about the alternative. If anger is on the throne, how does it govern?
Tyrannically. It breaks things.
Exactly. If fear is on the throne, it governs by paralysis. Atkinson isn't saying these things shouldn't exist. You need anger, you need fear, but they make terrible masters.
And this connects to modern neuroscience, right? Executive function.
It connects directly. The prefrontal cortex, the CEO of the brain. When Atkinson talks about the I, he's basically talking about engaging your executive function to, manage the reactive part of the brain.
The lizard brain.
The lizard brain, yeah, the amygdala. He's describing a biological process.
And it sounds identical to what Marcus Aurelius talks about in meditation.
It is identical. The parallel is striking. He and Epictetus constantly talk about the ruling faculty.
Right, the hegemonicon.
Exactly. Epictetus has this powerful idea that external things traffic, an insult, those things don't disturb us. They can't touch the eye.
It's our judgment of them that disturbs us.
Yes. The servant screams, "This is a disaster." But the sovereign eye can look at it and say, "No, this is just an event. We'll handle it."
So the first step in mind building isn't actually building, it's a coup.
It's a coup against your lesser self. Atkinson calls it the first battle, the conquest of the lesser self by the real self. And it starts with a shift in perspective.
And in language.
In language, absolutely. You have to stop identifying with the servant.
Okay, give me a concrete example of that. A regular Tuesday afternoon.
Think about how we talk. We say, "I am angry. I am sad."
Right. That's my state of being.
And when you say, "I am angry," you're linguistically fusing the sovereign I with the emotion. You're saying, my total identity is anger. You've given up the throne.
So what's the shift?
The shift is to say, "I feel anger." Or even better, "I observe that anger is present."
That feels like a small linguistic trick, but I can see how it creates space.
It creates a gap. Viktor Frankl called it the space between stimulus and response. In that gap, you have choice. You are the one observing the mood. You're not the mood itself.
So the I mounts the throne and lifts the scepter.
Which Atkinson calls the will. And it says, "I see you, anger. You're a subject in this kingdom, not the ruler. Sit down."
Sit down. I like that. It's not pretending it isn't there. It's just reminding it of its rank.
That's it. Order is only established when the will asserts authority. Otherwise, the loudest servant wins every time.
Okay, let's talk about the tools for this. Atkinson talks a lot about affirmation, and I've got to be honest, that word has gotten a really bad rap.
It has.
It feels very manifesting a parking spot.
Right. Or standing in the mirror telling yourself you're a millionaire when you're broke.
Exactly. But Atkinson seems to be getting at something much more mechanical.
He is. We have to completely demystify affirmation. For him, it isn't magic. It's a combination of three things: attention, rehearsal, and repeated choice.
Okay, break this down.
Attention is where you point the flashlight of your mind. Rehearsal is practicing the mental state you want, and repeated choice is just doing it over and over.
He has that great analogy, the crease in the paper.
It's the perfect way to understand neuroplasticity. He says to imagine your mind as a sheet of paper. The first time you fold it, that's a thought or an action. It takes effort, right?
Right, the paper resists. It wants to snap back.
That's the resistance we feel with a new habit. But if you fold it in the same place again, it's easier. 100 times, and the paper practically folds itself.
That is literally how neural pathways work.
It's exactly how they work. Atkinson was describing neurons that fire together, wire together, nearly a century before neuroscience proved it. Every time you think a negative thought, you're creasing the paper.
So affirmation is just deliberately folding the paper in a new direction.
Yes. You're creating a new crease, so the old one stops being the path of least resistance.
It's very similar to that concept in modern habit theory, implementation intentions.
The if-then planning.
Right. If I feel the urge to check my phone, then I will take a deep breath.
It's a command to your neural pathways. It's an affirmation of a new protocol. You're preloading the decision so the I doesn't have to fight in the moment.
Now, Atkinson has a very specific and kind of funny technique for dealing with the old creases.
The SCAT technique. I love this.
Me too. It's so practical.
Because it solves the problem of arguing with yourself. Most people debate their negative thoughts. A worry pops up, and you hold a court case in your head about it.
Is this valid? What if?
Yeah. Atkinson says to stop, don't argue. Treat the thought like an offended cat that just jumped on your dinner table.
Offended cat.
You don't have a philosophical debate with the cat, do you? You just say, "Scat, get down."
Cat.
"Scat, get out." He says do the exact same thing with a negative mood. It will recoil, it will hiss at you, but you don't engage. The sovereign dismisses servants, doesn't argue with them.
That's powerful because arguing with a mood gives it energy. It validates it.
It's the don't think of a pink elephant paradox. If you argue with anxiety, you're focusing on anxiety. By just saying scat and immediately turning your attention elsewhere, you cut the power cord.
But what about suppression? Am I just burying my trauma by telling it to scat?
That is the crucial nuance. You don't say scat to a fire alarm. If there's a fire, you put it out.
So if the emotion has actionable information, you act.
Yes, but most of our servants are just making noise, ruminating on the past, catastrophizing the future. If it's just noise, scat.
Okay, I want to see how this plays out in real life. Let's take 3 scenarios. Let's start with work. Focus versus distraction.
The classic battleground.
So the situation is, you need to work, you've got a deadline, But you feel that drift. You're bored. You want to check your phone.
Right. The passive reaction is to let the servant take the wheel. The servant here is the appetite for distraction. It says, I'm bored, let's get some dopamine. And you do it.
Unconsciously building the habit of quitting when bored.
Exactly. You're training yourself to be distractible. Now, the sovereign action, the I, asserts the will. It notices the itch, but it says, I am building focus.
You do the task not because it's fun, but because you said you would.
Yes. And Atkinson suggests doing a disagreeable task every day is like the gym for your will. It builds that muscle. You're proving to your brain who is in charge.
Okay, scenario 2. Relationships. Response versus impulse.
This is a big one. Someone says something irritating. A spouse, a colleague. You feel that flash of anger.
The passive reaction is to snap back immediately.
Immediate fire. The lizard brain. That's the servant anger declaring war.
And the sovereign action.
The I pauses. It looks at the anger. It acknowledges it. I feel a flash of anger, but it rejects the behavior. It tells it to sit down.
And then you choose a response based on your values, not your chemistry.
Exactly. The decision comes from the architect, not the raw material of the emotion.
It's that space between stimulus and response.
Yeah.
That's where the I lives.
If you don't have that space, you're just a robot.
All right, scenario 3. Habits. The battle of the routine. Creating a new one or breaking a bad one.
Situation.
Yeah.
It's late. You said you'd read, but you're tired. I want to watch one more video.
The passive reaction is negotiation.
Yes. The me starts haggling. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. The servant is filibustering.
I'll start tomorrow is the biggest lie the me tells, isn't it?
Always. The sovereign action is simple. Stop negotiating with terrorists.
Docs. The moods are terrorists.
In this context, yeah. They're holding your potential hostage. The sovereign I knows the decision was already made. The architect drew the plans yesterday. The builder just executes.
The debate is over once the order is given.
Exactly. You don't reopen the town hall meeting every time you have to lay a brick.
That is a huge mental shift. The decision was already made.
The decree is signed. End of story.
This all sounds great, but it's hard. And Atkinson identifies some specific pitfalls, right?
He does. 5 common mistakes. The first one is expecting the lower self to like it.
We want the salad to taste like pizza immediately.
Right. We think, if I'm doing the right thing, I should feel inspired. Atkinson says no. Expect the offended cat to hiss at you. Do it anyway.
Mistake 2. Negotiating after the order.
We touched on this. If you decide no phone after 10, and at 10:05 you start thinking, well, maybe, you've signaled your laws are just suggestions.
So the fix is absolute finality.
The order is given. End of meeting.
The third mistake is a tricky one. Mistaking suppression for mastery.
This is crucial. Mastery isn't bottling up emotions until you explode. It's transmutation.
Transmutation.
Changing the energy. You take that surge of anger and channel it into a workout or into solving a problem. You don't hide the feeling, you deny it the right to drive the car.
Okay. And mistake 4.
Inconsistency. Mind building happens every hour. You can't be sovereign in the morning and a slave in the evening.
Right. If you keep folding the paper in different directions, it just gets crumpled.
You never get a solid crease. The fix is to realize every moment is a vote for who's in charge.
And the fifth and final mistake.
Expanding the eye.
Just getting lost in the drama of life.
Exactly. Reacting to one thing after another. The fix is constant recall. You have to keep reminding yourself, I am the builder, not the building.
Okay, we have the theory, we have the traps. Let's get really practical. We have an exercise called the Inner Kingdom Reset.
Yes, a little system reboot you can do anytime you feel the servants taking over.
Let's walk through it. Step 1 is name the hijackers.
Right. Identify the top 2 recurring impulses that run your show. Be specific. Not stress, but anxiety about the quarterly report. Name the servants sitting in your chair.
Okay, step 2. Choose the sovereign order.
Select one single command you will obey today, no matter how you feel, something small. I will work for 1 hour without distraction. Just one absolute decree.
Step 3 is the calm affirmation.
Draft a statement that matches that order. Something like, I am asserting the mastery of my real self. Say it internally with force.
Step 4, visualization.
Close your eyes and picture the I, your highest self, walking into the throne room. See the impulse, the anxiety or procrastination, bowing down and stepping back.
That's the rehearsal part of affirmation.
Exactly. You're simulating the victory before the battle.
And the final step, step 5, is the proof action.
Do something physical right now to prove you're in charge. Sit up straighter. Close a browser tab. Put your phone face down. One small thing that says, I am back in control.
I love that. It anchors the mental concept in physical reality.
Action is the final proof of the will. Without it, it's all just daydreaming.
We have covered a lot of ground today. Let's just recap the main points to lock this in.
Let's do it. First, the mind is being built constantly. You have to choose to be the architect.
Second, the I is the sovereign, separate from your thoughts and feelings.
Third, the mental kingdom requires a ruler, or the servants will cause chaos.
Fourth, affirmation isn't magic. It's just attention plus rehearsal.
Fifth, stop negotiating with your moods. Once the order is given, that's it.
The first battle is conquering the lesser self to make room for the real self.
And finally, action is the final proof of the will.
It really is a battle, isn't it? But a battle worth fighting. The alternative is being a slave to your own moods.
It's the only battle that really matters. If you win this one, the one for your own mind, everything else in life gets easier.
And next time, we are going deeper. We've built the kingdom, reclaimed the throne. Now we need to learn how to wield the power source itself.
We're talking about the secret of the will. We're going to connect your individual will to the universal will. It gets big. We move from psychology into something almost metaphysical.
I can't wait. Thanks for being here. If you want the full series, check the playlist, and please like and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.